Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back, class 7th in your physics class. In the previous class, I have taught you about the loudness, pitch, and I have taught that the speed of sound is different in different medium. The speed of sound is greatest in solid, and then a little slower in liquid and the slowest in gases, and the speed of sound in air is 340 meter per second. And the speed of sound can easily be calculated if we know the distance and the time taken. So speed of the sound is easily calculated by using the formula of speed, distance and time. So today we study about the reflection of sound. You have studied about the reflection of light in your previous classes. So reflection of light is what? When light waves strike a surface, they get reflected. So similarly, what happens when sound wave strikes a hard surface, they also get reflected. So the change in the direction of sound when it strikes a hard surface is called reflection of sound. Hard surface may be rough, smooth, shining or dull like walls, metal sheets and plastic. Similarly, sound also obeys the same laws of reflection as obeyed by the light. Okay. The two laws of reflection of sound are, first is the incident sound wave, reflected sound wave and normal at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. Second, the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. The only requirement for the reflection of sound is that the size of the reflecting surface must be large. When we speak, the sound waves spread in all directions through the ear. Some sound waves reach our ears directly and some strike the walls of the room. The sound wave that strike the walls get reflected and reach our ears. In a small room, the original and the reflected sound waves reach our ears almost at the same time. Due to this, we cannot hear the reflected sound separately. The human ear can hear two sounds separately only when they reach the ear at an interval of 1/10 of a second. The sensation of hearing of any sound persists in our brain for 0.1 second. It is called persistence of hearing. Some instruments like megaphones, soundboards and stethoscope work on the principle of reflection of sound. Next is echo. You may have experienced that when you shout in a big empty hall or in front of a mountain, you hear your sound back after a few seconds. This reflected sound is echo. Echo is the repetition of the original sound heard after the sound is reflected from a distant and rigid object. To hear an echo, time difference between the original sound and the reflected sound should be at least 0.1 second. Now, minimum distance required for the occurrence of an echo. Now, suppose here is the source of a sound. This is the source of a sound, and this is the, suppose this is the wall. Okay. Now, we know that the speed of a sound in air is what? Speed of a sound in air is equals to 340 meter per second. This is the speed of a sound, right? So when the sound goes here and then it gets reflected, right? It means that so the time taken for an echo, you all know that the minimum time required for the formation of an echo is 0.1 second. It means the time taken to travel this distance from A to O, then O to B, is 0.1 second. Okay, so here we write, we know that the time taken is 0.1 second. So here we can find out the distance traveled in 0.1 second. Distance traveled in 0.1 second. We all know that this distance is what? Speed into time. So speed into time. So here you get 34 meter. So this, and here the distance is here the minimum distance is the 1/2 of this distance. So minimum distance for an echo is what? Minimum distance for an echo. This 34 meter is this double distance. 34 divided by 2, it means 17 meter. So an echo can be heard when the minimum distance between the source of the sound and reflecting surface is 17 meter. When this distance is maintained, then only echo forms. Okay. Next is absorption of sound. Sound is not reflected equally by all materials. The material having hard, smooth and shiny surface are good reflectors or bad absorbers of sound. On the other hand, soft and porous materials like clothes, carpet, curtains and thermocol are bad reflectors or good absorbers of sound. When sound falls on them, they absorb the sound to a good extent. Practical application of absorption of sound. First is soundproof box. A box that does not allow the internal sound to come out and the external sound to enter in is called a soundproof box. Like a soundproof box, a room can also be made soundproof. Such rooms are called soundproof enclosures. Examples are auditoriums and cinema halls. In order to design such rooms, we should take the following measure. First, the roof of the room must be covered by plaster of Paris after putting the thermocol sheets. Second, the floor must be covered by soundproofing tiles and carpets. The walls must be covered by the wooden strips. Thick curtain and strippings must be used to cover the opening of doors and windows. So students, your chapter is finished. Do the exercises and go through the chapter. Okay students, Allah Hafiz.